what was cool as hell, I should have said that beforehand. What was cool as hell is when we were playing Neo Turf Masters, how many people came by and were just like, yo, oh,
that's the
shit,
man. Oh, man.
Like, so many people were, like, fucking giving us props for playing Neo Turf Masters in the corner. They're like, oh, shit.
There were people who were giving damn props. They were looking at him like it was his game.
Yeah,
I was sitting at home as the sad clown playing Destiny, just watching the updates on Discord. Like,
we had some people come up behind me and Christian when we were playing Neo Turf Masters, and like they were making comments about tennis or something.
The lone difference,
like, do they know
as if there are
the difference between golf
like
and tennis?
100 million differences between these sports. And they hit a ball with a long thing, and
it's a shitload of rich white people. It's got to be.
That's true. They are basically white privilege the sport. So.
Oh, they both wear polos when they play. It's pretty much the same sport.
Basement Road Show.
この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。
Welcome to the Basement Roadshow podcast. I'm Tim Smith. Sitting alongside of me virtually is the Elton John to my Birding Taubin, Grant Patterson. Grant, how you doing?
Hold me closer, Tiny Dancer.
We got another episode. We're going to talk about some fun things. We've had some IRL stories to tell, and we'll still get into a little bit of movies and games and TV and stuff like that. But we've got a bunch of guests with us tonight. We've got Christian Vasquez with us.
Yeet!
We've got Danno Waddell with us.
Good day.
We also have Gordon Kirshner once again joining the podcast.
Hey, howdy.
And a new addition to the podcast. And Antonio, I just realized that I don't know how to properly say your last name. So go ahead and introduce yourself, Antonio.
I'm Antonio R.S. Huggy Bear Del Valle. How's it going, everybody? Del
Valle. See, that was it. I had to get crazy with the L's. I like it. Well, welcome, guys. Welcome. We're definitely gonna talk about some fun stuff. A bunch of us met up. Grant.
Yeah, man. Long time coming. As we all got together for the beautiful experience of CEO 2018 here in Daytona Beach. A lot of us in Basement Roadshow are based in that area. We all actually live just north of that. Danno and Tim live a little bit further north. I live directly north of Daytona Beach.
Are you doxing me right now? Are you trying to dox me?
No, well, hey. But Antonio is actually from the same space where I'm living now, and he's actually living near Orlando. So yeah, it's all like kind of hyped to have like that shit go on in our backyard. So a couple people came in from out of town. One of our buddies came in from Tampa. Vaz flew in from Texas, which was super dope.
Worth it.
Dude, how long have I known you? I think I've known you for like 6 or 7 years.
Since 2013, man. Since 2013.
Yeah, it's been almost 6 years. So it's been yeah, dude. That was a long time coming. So it was.
And this was the first time you guys actually met in person.
Yeah, and it felt like we just picked up right where we left off. It was just normal.
Yeah, you didn't leave off anywhere though. You never
been talking shit to this motherfucker for the better part of a decade.
Yep.
So
well, cool. Yeah, we definitely had some people over. We met at the local Wang establishment and had some wangs.
I had wings.
I was about to say.
I guess.
Ooh, that puts all of you in a whole other light for me.
Guys, I'm trying to appeal to a broader audience. Okay, I was trying something new. I don't know why you have to crucify me for it. Okay.
Talking about trying something new. Nothing quite like trying some wang, am I right,
Whatever.
Tim?
Tim shrug.
Yeah, wangs. Damn it. I didn't even fucking think about that. It's like a big wet wang. That's what I was eating. They were delicious.
God, no.
It was Wally's wangs. They were Wally was in my mouth.
Wally's wangs are spicy.
I don't know how to make it stop.
God bless you, Wally.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh shit!
Anyway, we had a few Yinglings. I don't know. How does that sound? is that bad, Yinglings? I'm
To
sure
have,
that could be
you had to
interpreted.
wash the taste of Wang out of your mouth.
We're off to a roaring start here on the sixth episode of the Basement Roadshow podcast. So yeah, it was awesome. We finally got to meet up a little bit, but you know, and that was basically the pre-impetus for the CEO craziness. And I definitely want to hear what went down after I unfortunately had to bow out. But I'm curious for some stories, guys. I need some CEO stories. Give them to me.
My CEO stories are boring because I was super hyped to have like the second largest fighting game tournament in the world go on in my backyard, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna go and see and do a whole bunch of shit. And I saw and did a little bit of shit because I mean, like, I saw like Soul Calibur 6 and played the shit out of that for a couple times, and that was really great, and I'll have more to talk about that later on. Like, I played in the Tekken 6 tournament and I got pretty much bodied after winning one game. And then the entire rest of the weekend is literally spent at the Gundam vs. Gundam Next arcade cabinets, where I went Genghis fucking Khan on the entire fucking tournament fucking attendee pool. I honestly, guy, like, I probably spent, I can't even track the number of hours I spent on that fucking cabinet. And I had no hyperbole, I think I probably went like 425, maybe 30, like 25 and 30 losses.
That's a lot of
That's
Gundam.
a lot. Like, I have played nearly 500 games, very easily, and it, the vast majority of them, I walked out waving my fucking dick in someone's face. It was.
Yeah, there was one guy who I'm pretty sure had like a vein popping out of the side of his forehead because he had played you probably like 10 times straight and just lost time after time. And I was
They knew what they were doing.
I was
They knew what they were doing.
afraid he was gonna, go a little out of control on us here, though.
Yeah, there were a couple people I could tell were getting really frustrated. I tried to keep it light, but there was one dude in particular that just, one guy in particular was so mad. And I played against him at CEO Taku at the tournament for Gundam Versus that I played.
What was he doing? Tell me.
He was just mad. He was just like I have a tendency to like high five my opponents and be like, yo, it's a good game, good hustle out there. Cause like I try to be magnanimous when I win. I don't want to be like, yeah, eat a dick. You know what I mean? Like, I'm never that dude unless I'm talking to Vasquez, at which point
I was
to
gonna
eat a
say
dick all the
bullshit.
time. Well, I mean, I do it to you because it's fun, but it's everyone else who I normally play. Like, I'm not that way. I'm only that way when I know you. So I was trying to like give dude dap and was like, yo, man, like, it's a good game. And he's like, man, why don't you congratulate your partner instead of like talking to me? And I'm like, wow, fam, sorry, I didn't realize I was, stepping on your pride by saying good game, and he basically started going on this diatribe about how it's weird optics and I should consider how that looks to my teammate who wasn't being congratulated while I'm congratulating or thanking my opponents.
At the end of the day, the reason that I did it, sir, was because out of my teammate and you, I figured you needed the most emotional fucking support. What's funny is this. I didn't even mean to say it, but homeboy basically was like, said that shit to me, and I said, well, that's fine. That's your opinion, and you can have it. You lit him up.
I said, no, that's your opinion. You can have it. You're free. And not realizing.
No, I forgot you were asking me, like, dude, did I fuck up by telling him that? You were so concerned.
I was like, oh, man, because the thing is, I was like, I respected him as a player. I'm like, oh, man, I didn't mean to fucking say that to his face. But I'm like, then again, well, the thing is like, do you understand what the term free means? Like, it basically means, like, you're a free win. Like, you're a
suck.
bitch.
That's
You
basically
suck.
what it means.
So basically, unbeknownst to myself, even in the moment, I basically told him to eat a dick. I'm like, I didn't even mean to. And then I was like, I turned to him and said, oh man, I feel bad. But you know what? I really don't. I'm not sorry. Play again. Fuck
Christian.
you, dude.
Christian, tell me
That momentary-
Tell me what you've seen.
that
Or
momentary-
you, Antonio, tell me your perspective. Sounds like the majority of Grant's perspective was from the glow of the Gundam cabinet. So what was happening at the rest of CEO? Some other things that I might be interested in.
Well, so I mean, there's one big thing that I'm gonna kind of touch on, but that's a little bit later, and that's kind of the fallout of it. I do want to touch on that, yeah. But as far as the actual
we'll
event,
get to that.
it was.
What did you like inside? What was Jabali Land like?
I mean, Jabali Land was, just a lot of arcade machines, a lot of setups for some games you might not expect to see. Like
It's where I want to go when I die.
There was like Custom Robo and like WWE 2K18 and Def Jam Fight for New York, and then like a bunch of like super old or super niche arcade games. Like there was Magical Drop, Akatsuki Blitzkampf, like things that you have, like no one here knows what I'm talking about, but it was there, so you could sit down and be like, oh, what's this game like? Mess around.
I know
with
what
it.
Magical Drop is, sir.
Well, okay, yeah, one person, but like the 1% of the 1% of that fighting game privilege knows what some of the games that were actually there and have some experience with it. But no, like, things also got, like, unexpectedly hype in Jabali Land for some of these tournaments. Like, there was a lot of side tournaments, so it wasn't the main draw of the CEO event. It wasn't, you're not playing Tekken 7, it wasn't Melee, it wasn't Street Fighter, but you had, like, all these, like, little events, like, my first example is Def Jam Fight for New York, because that's the one that I actually played in.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised to hear that was something that was on the docket. You're talking about niche fighters to see Def Jam Fight for New York. I mean, we all like to see Method Man fuck some shit up, but I was definitely surprised to see that as a fighter among some of the things with such FGC pedigree.
I firmly believe that game is the greatest fighting game in the world and of all time, honestly. Solely because I get to throw Sean Paul in front of a train.
No, but it got, like, unexpectedly hype. Like, if you catch the VOD, it was streamed on twitch.tv/VGBootcamp2. Like, there was the whole, like, steel cage setup, and you got, like, a crowd of, like, 50 people deep just, like, yelling all kinds of, like, insane shit. Just, like, cracking jokes on the mic, and it was, like, a really fun time, and that you wouldn't expect for a game of that notoriety necessarily, because it's a 15-year-old game, nobody plays it, but it got wild, and that's kind of like CEO's thing. Granted, I've gone to every CEO but one,
okay,
but I have not been to any other like super major. But CEO kind of has that reputation where it's one of the most party of major fighting game events, where you'll have a lot of people drinking, you have a lot of people having a good time, just playing what they want to play and having fun with it, where it's not like 72 hours of, oh my god, I gotta win.
So it's not just all sweats. There's people out there to have a good time at CEO.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. Christian, what are some of the things that you saw that you enjoyed about your experience at CEO? This was your first attendance?
Yes, first tournament and first CEO attendance. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It was amazing. I mean, I'm in a completely different place. And although the city itself is one thing, there's a weird amount of charm that it has. Like, you walk by the Ocean Center venue, and right next to the front door where they're checking everyone's bags for entrance, there's a half-filled jug of Fireball whiskey standing right there in the corner. And I see it, and I'm like, Daytona!
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was put there by the Chamber of Commerce.
It was amazing.
We'll dive into that more later.
It's party now.
Oh, that was one thing, but the Ocean Center venue,
Half
the
a
venue was
fucking handle of
fantastic.
Fireball abandoned.
Yeah, just
Antonio had been looking
Day
for that
one.
shit for
This
hours,
bitch is
by the way.
10:30 a.m. day one. There's a half jug of Fireball like right outside. I'm like, what the fuck, guy?
And I'm thinking, damn, I'm not partying enough. I need to drink more of these fucking Rage Arts. I need to catch
These guys
up.
are out here fucking
So-
slamming antifreeze.
Hashtag CEO goals.
You're telling me, man.
Oh, no.
You're telling me. But the first tournament was a crazy experience. I bought myself a new fight stick. My first ever fight stick. I bought one just on a whim. I bought the baddest one on the market. Apparently got it for $50 cheaper than it is online.
I'm kind of jealous. Your
perfect.
fight stick's nice.
Yeah, the Comba Dragon is
He's eyeing your stick. Christian.
it's top notch. But
Oh,
also got to
my.
meet a lot of FGC heads, like people. Some of them I didn't even know who they were. I just bumped into them by accident, and they want to play games, and I didn't realize. And I'm like, oh shit. What else? I'm so glad I hung out with Tim, Danno, Grant, and everyone because they showed me all the good places to eat. Oh my god, I did not get hung to dry. I got introduced to some legitimate places. Like Dan took me to fucking Tiacores, best freaking tacos that reminded me of home. Like, oh my god, those are amazing. The
Yeah,
daily
Tiacores is a
grind
joint for
over
sure.
in Orangeport. Yeah, Antonio took us all the way over there to enjoy it, and that was the best fucking
Orange-
burger ever.
Orange Port.
Whatever it's called, Orange
Port
Port,
Orange.
Port Orange.
Tomato,
Orange
tomato,
Port.
man.
It's all good.
Oh,
We went
fuck.
to Grind Daily in Orange Port.
Grind daily in Orange Port. But and then I tried my pie, whatever, with Dan over by the venue, like where all the colors and looks like it's from the '80s and shit. It was nuts. Got to see a whole lot of shit. Got to meet some cosplayers. Played against some FGC people. The tournament, the top 8 was so hype. Like watching it and getting hype is one thing, but it's like you're not surrounded by people who care. It's like you're the only person, so you kind of have to like calm yourself down. But when you're surrounded by people that love this shit just as much as you don't give a fuck, and your hype levels just go through the roof. Like, ask these guys how I looked during the Tekken 7 top 8. They'll tell you. I went ape
Oh, no.
shit.
You
Eight
caught that
shots.
fucking Knuckle Dude dollar during his crazy rich Asians moment. That
Oh,
shit was
that-
hilarious.
That was me cooling down.
Oh no, that
That
was definitely tame.
That was tame. During when Lil Majin was going up against, like every time he used King and did the swing around, like I kept like rolling up my fist like Donkey Kong and fucking smash, and every time he throws them, I'm like, rah! I just jump forward with my fist flying in the air. I was basically the Eastern Arena's cheerleader, getting everyone hyped up. It was nuts.
Yeah, during the Tekken 7 finals, the top 8, Vaz was literally like running around through the aisles, just like giving people dap. Like so Little Majin was like the only American that continued on deep into the tournament, but so he had the hometown crowd, and Vaz was definitely a big part of that. Anytime like anything happened, this guy got a good combo, got a good throw. He'd be running around, like giving people dap every time he won a round. He'd just like run up to like almost to the ring and just start slapping fives and whatnot. But yeah, it's electric, and like Vaz said, and that you got to get caught up in it when you've got an arena full of people who love the same thing, and you know you feed off each other, and yeah, Vaz definitely felt that firsthand.
Like it felt alive.
Dano, you were. Oh, sorry.
You're
Vaz,
good.
I
You're
didn't
good,
cut
man.
you off there.
Felt alive.
Dano, you were a spectator, right? You grabbed a spectator badge, and you were there documenting almost from a video standpoint as well. You were doing some filming, I understand.
That's correct. I, in fact, got asked on the final day. I got asked, "Do you work here?" Because I guess I had been walking around. I'd been walking around the entire time with a big video camera and documenting things from the point of view of a first-time attendee. I got a lot of footage. I've been
Yeah, you did.
going through that and hoping to put together like a little kind of mini documentary on my experience there. And the main story that I will leave you with is the story of the Smash Bros. And the soda.
Wait, what? I wasn't there for this, I
Because-
guess.
I've heard about this.
It's the last day I haven't found anybody that I know. I'm tired.
This is the moment when I put loop music in the background.
Yeah.
How did you run into a Smash person who actually enjoys soda?
Oh no.
I mean, it's like an albino unicorn.
I am the one who wanted to enjoy the soda. So.
Oh no, this is taking a turn.
It's the last day. I'm exhausted. By the way, like the next day after CEO ended, I was so tired. I had been on my feet almost the entire time. So I'm tired. It's the last day. And I am hungry and thirsty. So I go buy myself some nachos and a large soda. And I sit down in the tournament arena.
What are we talking here, Dr. Pepper?
Oh, it was a Coke
Zero?
with no ice. So that I could get more Coke, more bang for my buck.
That's
Everybody
always been
loves more
Dano's philosophy. More
That's
Coke.
right. So I take it into the tournament arena, which, for better or worse, was during one of the Smash finals. I don't know if it was Melee or I don't play Smash, so I have no idea.
Finals day would have been Smash 4. So.
Okay, so I've got my soda and I've got my nachos. I set the soda down underneath me, like underneath the chair, like an adult. And I'm eating my nachos. I finish the nachos, and then something great happens in the tournament, and the Smash Brothers or people go crazy, and
Smash
Fellows go crazy. They kick my soda over, and it pours not just on the ground, and I'm now sodaless. No, it pours into my shoe. So
I mean, that's terrible.
Now I not only have been robbed of my Coke, which I need.
Dano does not like to be robbed of
I
Coke.
now have sticky feet, and that's not cool either. So
that's his Coke name. Dano Sticky Feet Waddell.
And that's not cool either.
So
I fully expect you to enter the next CEO as just BRS Sticky
BRS Sticky Feet.
Old Sticky Foot Waddell at
Challenge
the Ocean
accepted.
Center
And the
again.
worst part is that his feet were probably still cleaner than the Smash fans actually in attendance.
Gordon found his mute button. well, guys, let's go ahead and as we mentioned at the top, we have a large concentration of folks that are actually residing here in the Central Florida area, and the elephant in the room for us was the out-of-towners' perception of downtown Daytona. And early returns were not painting a very pretty picture. Guys?
Yeah, I mean, coming from Houston and seeing Daytona, I mean, here's the thing. I wasn't going to knock it right away like most people clearly did because it's a new place. Give it a chance. You're with people that know the area very well, so they'll show you all the hidden gems so you can experience that little charm for yourself. But, the town does look a little different when you walk through it at night. There was one time where I had to walk to the hotel, and it felt different. Like it was a ghost town. It's like 2 a.m. when in most places are like thriving and crazy, and it's like dead, and it's like eerie, and it just felt different. And especially when some of the buildings look like that the style is dated, and you can tell that they're trying to renovate and catch up. But I think that in the long run may help. But for what it's worth, I think my experience in Daytona was overall fucking awesome, mainly because it was the people that I was rolling with made it so much better. They helped me avoid all the shit that people apparently ran into.
I think you were probably
protected.
You were probably at a distinct advantage, being able to be ushered around
Fuck yeah, man.
to the best
I'm
spots
so
in the
thankful
area
for that.
by locals. But for the folks that came and had to experience Daytona of their own volition, it doesn't seem like it went quite the way that they wanted it to, which is unfortunate.
Oh no, it definitely didn't.
Yeah, Antonio, you want to get into some of the reports and some of the things that we saw, we heard of that were reported.
So I'm just going to preface this by saying on Thursday before the tournament, I shot my shot and I put out on Twitter saying everyone out here is about to make a tweet during CEO 2018 talking about what a trash heap Daytona is like I ain't been out here telling you for years. And I sunk that shot. That was definitely, what came to fruition. If you just searched Daytona on Twitter, it was just a slaughter. So many people complaining. Pretty much the main two was the homeless slash drug addict people just in that area, and that area where the Ocean Center is, for those uninitiated, is very homeless campy. There are a lot of vagrants, if you will, out in that area. And then the second main complaint was
homeless campy, trying to gentrify your words. Jesus Christ.
And then the second main thing was the racism. So as
sigh.
Yeah, that happened.
Not sigh about the claims, sigh that it's color me not surprised.
Mm-hmm. Well, you might want to watch how you use the word color there, but no, I'm joking. So
yeah, I saw a couple things of people talking about, references of the KKK and lots of Confederate flags, and I mean, you could take a drive down A1A right now in Daytona, and you could look in almost every beachfront T-shirt shop, and you will find at least one iteration of a T-shirt on a like a Confederate flag on a fucking pit
I
bull
didn't
or
see
some
any of
shit
those.
like that.
You didn't. You
also
also
probably didn't
go
walk
down
by gift
Main
shops.
Street. That's the thing too. Like if you go into gift shops are really, really skewed towards the. I'm not going to say it's conservative and white. Let's just say that it's friendly to the point of view that a lot of conservative white people have, mainly because a lot of people that have those beliefs show up en masse 3 times a year. And those times are Bike Week, the Daytona 500, and Biketoberfest. So
I want to cut in there, actually. The fourth time, which I think might have skewed a little bit towards the Confederate flag, is the Coke Zero 400, which happened the week after CEO. So a lot of gift shops were probably gearing up for that crowd. Doesn't make it better, but that might be, kind of devil's advocate. Oh, maybe they knew their market and were trying to stock up for that. Like I said, doesn't excuse it.
No,
but
they know their market and they are gearing up for it, and I can't fault them for trying to make money off of the people that are coming in. But if you're trying to bring in a more diverse crowd and a different crowd, then you have to start thinking a little bit more broadly about what kind of optics you're getting out of that. Especially if you're going down Main Street, where Main Street, you'd think like anywhere else you go, you're like, oh, Main Street must be like where all the shit goes down. It's where all like the fucking biker bars are. You know what I mean? It's where all the seediest shit is. And it's like, you go down Seabreeze and it's, it's on, you got Razzles where, like, as you so eloquently put, you sit on the couch, you get a fucking STD. Robbie O'Connell's, which is still my favorite local bar, and they're really cool people there, but it's like the only bastion of sanity. And you've got the fucking Oyster Pub, which is where you go to fucking watch MMA and get in fights. There's freaking Molly Browns and Lollipops, which are like the saddest strip clubs imaginable. Like there's not a lot going on in Daytona. So when people are like, A, Daytona kind of sucks, and then B, there's stuff going on that's making it suck even more, I get where people are coming from, and I really wish it wasn't that way.
And that groundswell got to the point where Jabali himself had to take to Twitter to go ahead and try to minimize the damage of the perception of his event, while a lot of people definitely said in their tweets that they liked the event and what went on inside was great. When they stepped outside the doors, it was a different story. And Jabali's under contract with the Ocean Center for future CEOs. So that is something that I believe he said he's going to have to address with the Chamber of Commerce and leadership in the city of Daytona and the Volusia County. And I'll take anything.
It helps.
Whatever we can do to try to clear up that area, because I work in downtown Daytona, and for perspective, the other day I had to text one of the girls that I work with. She's 25, and I just said, hey, you're a 25-year-old single girl. There is 3 homeless guys and all their belongings camped in front of your car. Like, be careful, maybe come out with somebody else, and that was at lunchtime.
The problem that we get into with that is the fact that it's easy to take a look at the problem and say, oh, here's a problem in the city and the Chamber of Commerce and everyone else. They all need to step up and fucking fix it. When you don't have
well, it's their jobs.
It's their jobs, absolutely. But these things have to come from somewhere. The solutions just don't come out of thin air, and it usually comes out of fucking fat green.
Again, their jobs, it's their jobs to try to keep visitors safe. It's their jobs to try to keep the people who work in that city safe. It's their jobs to try to keep the people who live there safe. And it's not my job to come up with the idea. I pay my fucking taxes.
You do, but the problem is,
I'm a good member of the community. I create enough positive influence where I don't feel like I need to be I need to come up with the solution.
It's not
for
you.
them. It's their job.
It's not you. The thing is it's not you. You have a different head on your shoulders than most people here do. Most people in Florida tend to skew red, and when they skew red, they skew towards the idea of all taxes are bad under all circumstances. When you don't have taxable revenue or any sort of incoming tax revenue at the local or county or city level, you don't have the money to make programs and services to handle those sorts of problems. So when the problems get out of control, the citizens of that place are saying, well, what the fuck are you doing? But you've basically now have a problem that they have no real means to fix it unless they're trying to get some sort of mythical, magical Daddy Warbucks outside help, which will never happen. But whenever they try to actually say, well, why don't we pay for these programs if we want to get that done? Oh, you can't have this extra half penny a year. You know what I mean? Like, they tried that shit in Flagler County with the freaking schools. They tried to put a half penny tax. That shit got shut down because nobody wanted to pay like an extra half penny on their fucking taxes for their property taxes or whatever, because all of a sudden taxes are bad, and they don't sit there and think, well, what are these taxes going for? Because if I'm sitting here only having to pay $10 extra per year over 100,000 people, well, motherfucker, that adds up to a lot. You can get a lot done with that amount of revenue, so long as that's transparent and is going towards the things that we've set it aside for.
Well, yeah, at the end of the day, we've got to find there's going to need to be some solutions, and for Jabali, certainly, I think the red crowd is a little more tolerant of everything down there strangely enough,
yes.
than
who knew
what we're gonna see from this different crowd. Like, they don't give a shit. Those people are coming for the Daytona 500. They're coming for fucking Bike Week. But at the end of the day, I think some of these guys who've experienced this here this weekend, they could say, I'm gonna go to the next one. I'm gonna go to the next tournament over in this place and not deal with that again. And that's Jabali's biggest fear, I'm guessing, at this point, and something that hopefully gets addressed, because I'm in ground zero.
It's Daytona's biggest fear too,
there.
because the thing is Daytona's in this weird place where, really and truthfully, we have to have outside revenue in order to survive. We don't have enough industry here to freaking self-sustain.
It's actually getting a lot better. There's been a very large corporate initiative over the past few years. It's actually partially been spearheaded by folks from my company, and they're starting to bring real industry to the area again. Braun, who manufactures surgical implants, they just recently opened their things. We got a Trader Joe's warehousing facility here. They're bringing some more big business. We just got the Hard Rock. We just got there's this hand tools manufacturer that just moved their operations from New York, and for the first time, they're getting some jobs and some places that will sustain the economy. One, Daytona is growing as more of a tourist spot. So, I think, and which is away from the ground zero of a lot of that bullshit.
But it's at the ground zero.
That's over by the Speedway. Yeah, it is. It's ground zero of the Speedway, but you notice there's none of those fucking problems over there.
No, because it's super gentrified and super clean and it's super new.
Correct.
And they haven't
Correct.
attacked anything that's going on beachside because beachside doesn't have as much money unless you're a hotel.
Correct.
So
I, at the end of the day, it's it was tough seeing a black eye for the area that we're all pretty much residing in.
Sad.
But again, none of us were surprised, and that's that's the sadder part. So hopefully, a couple more loud choruses. That's how things get changed. Squeaky wheels get the grease, kids. And but anybody else have anything they want to add about the CEO experience?
I want to apologize for the things I did to Christian Vasquez's psyche in Soul Calibur 6.
Hey, I won the match. Shut up! I ain't scared of you.
I won a match. You got
Shut
one.
the fuck
You got
up.
one, and that's good. Hold that deep in your heart.
Yeah, man, that's all I need.
I hope that breath of air sustains you for the long drop.
If you bet the over on Grant Patterson FGC humble brags in this segment, I think you did.
God,
well.
he's like the LeBron James of that shit. I swear to God.
All right, everybody, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up our segment on CEO, and we're gonna bring it back with some more hot pop culture talk, and we might even get into some relationship stuff with old Danno Waddell. Danno's got some stories to tell. So thanks for listening. We'll be right back in just a few. All right, everybody, we are back for the next segment of the Basement Roadshow podcast. Danno Waddell and I are going to talk a little bit about some of the summer movies. Summer movie season in full swing. We got a couple things that have just hit the theaters that we're going to talk about. Incredibles 2. We're going to talk about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom and the latest Marvel offering after Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp. So, Danno, which ones? What have you seen out of these movies?
Well, I have seen Incredibles 2 and Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I enjoyed both of them.
Okay.
I'm going to start with Ant-Man and the Wasp because it's the latest one that I've seen. It is tonally very different from what we left off with Infinity War. Obviously, it's set before Infinity War. And the tone difference, I feel, is necessary for Ant-Man. If you know the character of Ant-Man that they've created in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, obviously he's played by Paul Rudd, and that,
super serious guy.
Yeah, so serious.
Super serious guy.
So It was just the most serious movie ever. No, it was a ton of fun. There's a few issues with pacing here and there, but through and through, I really enjoyed the movie, and I was almost certain I was not going to, because we were coming off of such a great movie with Thanos in Infinity War. But you got to hand it to Marvel. They do a good job with their movies, even when they're not completely perfect or anything like that. Like, it was a very enjoyable movie from start to finish. So.
And that could be said definitely about the first Ant-Man movie. I think it's one of the more underrated Marvel cinematic titles. I enjoyed it extensively. It's a big one here at the house. We watch it all the time. I'm definitely gonna get my butt to the theater and see that. How is the villain?
The villain it's kind of interesting because there's actually there's almost more than one, and so
okay. Without giving anything away.
Without spoiling anything, the villains, there are villains that are very well developed. And then there's this other villain who's not really that well developed, and he's just kind of like your typical almost I'm a comic book villain and I do bad things because I'm a comic book villain and I like money or whatever.
He's kicking cats and twirling his mustache is what you're telling me.
Kind of. So his character, he serves a purpose, and it's almost more comedic at times, but he's not as developed as the other people who play a villainous role.
Okay. But you would say that Ant-Man and the Wasp is another positive entry to the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Definitely, and I will say you got to be sure to stay after the credits. There's 2 after credit scenes.
Okay, hold on. Let me stop you right
Sure.
there. Who are the assholes that in 2018 are getting up during a fucking Marvel movie and walking out of the theater? Like, I seriously want to slide tackle every single one of them and just be like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? I just don't understand it. I look at those people every time and I'm just like, really? Like, have you learned nothing? At 2008, we started this fucking people. Like, get on board. I'm sorry, Dan.
No, that's good. What I've started doing is any other movie that's not Marvel that I think might have one, I will Google if there is an end credits scene so I know whether or not I can leave when the credits start rolling.
Smart.
And I recommend that all of you do that.
Yeah, I've made my fiance sit through a couple where I was like, nothing but the lights coming on. All right, let's go.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think it was Batman v Superman. I sat all the way through, and first off, I had to sit all the way through the movie,
and you didn't
which was
die.
hard enough. Somehow I made it through the movie, and then I made it through the credits, which were honestly more entertaining than the movie. But then, if I remember, there wasn't anything really there may have been one like mid-credit scene. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think there was a mid-credit scene where they showed Lex, maybe.
Yeah.
I watched that movie.
Or was that
twice.
not until the DVD release?
Maybe that was.
I don't remember.
Maybe it's Wonder Woman that I'm thinking of. I don't know. There was some comic book movie that I thought for sure, and then there wasn't. So.
Yeah, so stay for the credit scene because I think I keep seeing, even though I haven't seen the movie yet, that there's some pretty important stuff. In these ones. There usually is some good stuff. It's not just them eating shawarma.
And
like in the Avengers.
It sucks that nobody else I know has seen it because it's one of those things like you just want to talk about.
Right, I'm definitely gonna try to get it this weekend, and then we can go ahead and fangirl about it. You saw Incredibles 2 as well.
I have, yeah. I took my kids to see the Incredibles 2 on July 4th.
Super Dad,
That's
Danno
right.
Waddell.
And I did enjoy it. And the Incredibles 2, very entertaining movie. It, in a lot of ways, though, feels like a rehashing of the first movie. That's something I kind of noticed after I saw it. I walked out of the theater and I was feeling that was a good, enjoyable movie. And it is. It's enjoyable. It's entertaining. My kids enjoyed it. And then I start thinking about it and I realize they kind of set up the issues that are at the beginning of the first Incredibles movie as, these are still issues. And now we're in the exact same situation that we were in Incredibles 1, but now we've flipped it and it's, Elastigirl's time to shine. And there's some issues with it. Still a very enjoyable and entertaining movie. The villain is kind of, there's sort of, I guess a twist you could call it, but it's very predictable. I think everybody sees it coming unless they are a child. But I definitely would recommend people go see it. It's enjoyable. Also, just to throw it out there, I know everybody thinks I should absolutely love The Incredibles 1 and 2 because I'm such a huge comic book nerd. They've never been top on my list. So, The Incredibles, I don't feel is one of Pixar's strongest movies. I did not enjoy it the first time I see it, and subsequent viewings, I've found some enjoyment in it, but it's not on the top of my list. So now everybody kills it.
Well, there you have it. Danno shitting all over some people's favorite property.
It's usually my job.
So I think the 14-year wait for Incredibles 2 probably a good idea, but I will say, nobody on Earth needed Cars 2 and 3.
No,
And now,
no, that
Whoa,
never
whoa.
needed to happen. But The Incredible, like, I'm curious. What about The Incredibles don't you like?
Well, okay, first off, disclaimer, I haven't seen it in a while. I will gladly rewatch it and let everybody know my feelings.
It doesn't sound like you'll be that fucking glad about it, Dano. I gotta be honest.
No,
with
no,
you.
I'm curious because it's literally my, like, The Incredibles, personally speaking, is my favorite Pixar movie for reasons that it has nothing to do with the superhero element. It's the way that they handle the superhero family balance. There's really Brad Bird is a god, in my opinion.
Brad Bird does a great job. There's a lot of he does really good and colorful visuals. Not even just in his animated movies like The Incredibles and Incredibles 2, but
his
even
storytelling
in Mission
is
Impossible
god tier.
Ghost Protocol.
Ghost Protocol is the best Mission Impossible movie to me.
And it has just some crazy colorful visuals in it that like he does really good with. My problem, I would say, with The Incredibles is it feels a little bit too much like honestly, it feels a little bit too much like it's supposed to be like a Fantastic Four movie. There's stuff about it that I feel just gets on my nerves from trying to think of the right way to put this. I think the kids in the first one are extremely annoying, especially the son. I could not stand the son in the first one. I wanted to freaking Incredible punch him in the face.
Oh wow! Super Dad status revoked.
Yes. A lot of people like the villain syndrome in Incredibles. I like him to some extent, and on the other hand, I don't like him. And again, it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I feel like with him, there's a bit of a twist in that you're like, oh, he's this character? But for me, I saw that coming. Like, the first time I saw the movie, the very beginning of the movie opens up, and for those of you who haven't seen it, you know, it opens up with this kid who's trying to be Mr. Incredible's sidekick or whatever. And, like, I figured out everything from, like, right there. I was like, oh, yep, there's the bad guy. And it was just, like, the rest of the movie felt like there was this sort of, like, unnecessary build to, like, this reveal.
Okay. Dano really doesn't like Incredibles 1.
Again,
Like,
I need to
get it.
rewatch it, okay? I will admit, I need to rewatch it. It's been a while.
All right.
It's very interesting to me.
It's Grant's favorite. Dano, not a fan.
I'm just
Dano. Jurassic World.
I'm
Fallen
curious
Kingdom
how someone
came
can be
out.
so allergic to fun.
I'm drinking the Gordon Kool-Aid, so
It's spreading, which honestly,
Damn.
maybe not a good thing.
Usually kills people, but this time he lived. He just turns into an asshole.
He's the one who gets. Usually, the radioactive waste either kills you or turns you into a superhero or villain. In this case,
Yeah.
Danno became the villain.
So Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom is the next on our list, Dano.
yeah. So Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. I've heard that. Well, the movie sets itself up for failure at the very beginning.
Did you see the movie, Dano?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
But I saw reviews.
Okay, now we're getting
I know
somewhere.
a guy who has seen the movie.
Give us
Okay,
your
so
third
you-
hand.
so you
Give us your
watched-
third hand review of the movie, Dano.
Third-hand review.
Please,
Here you go.
Please tell us what happened when the guy watched the movie and he told you about
The
it.
biggest thing I've heard.
Cool story, bro.
Is-
Reviews.
I think the movie starts out by kicking itself in the balls so hard that it can't recover, because it starts out with like one of the things that happens is they have the beloved character from the original, played by the illustrious Jeff Goldblum. Yeah. And he comes out, this character who in previous movies has been absolutely spot on correct, and who fans of the original movie will be like, yep, listen to that guy. He knows what he's talking about. and then they take him, and every message that he says in like the short, like 9 minutes he's actually in the movie, is the opposite of what the rest of the movie is actually about. So apparently he gets on camera and says, "Don't go save the dinosaurs. This is nature's way of making our mistakes right." And then they spend the rest of the movie
Smash cut
trying to basically save the dinosaurs. So it's like, imagine if at the beginning of, I don't know, at the beginning of Infinity War, Thanos was like, "We need to balance things and get rid of half of the people," and then the rest of the movie he just ate ramen noodles or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw the movie.
Oh, that's good. Let's hear what you have to say.
That's it. That's accurate.
All that needs to be said.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Here's the deal. Here's the deal on Fallen Kingdom. Okay. I'll lay it out for you. If you just sit there and eat some popcorn and just try to forget that you're super into anything and just take it for the stupid stuff that it is, it was fun. I went there. It was technically my bonus parent day. My future stepsons wanted to do something nice for me. They were with their dad on Father's Day, so a couple weeks later they took me to the nice movie theater and we went to go see Jurassic World. So I'm probably a little biased in my experience because it was such a nice setup for me. But I thought it was just stupid and it was fun. It wasn't great. I started to actually get into the campiness of it at a certain point, because once the villains started being portrayed in this movie, I was just like, oh, they're going as fucking tropey as they could possibly trope on this thing. Like, I don't know why they didn't give him a mustache tutorial, or I don't know why he didn't tie anyone up on railroad tracks, because this was unbelievable. When the twist finally came and they started showing this guy for who he was, like, it was just the being nasty to the kid behind closed doors. It was just so friggin' tropey to the point where, hey, sorry, I'm going to spoil a not great movie for you guys, but I still enjoyed it. They basically want to sell the dinosaurs, and they're like in an underground warehouse bunker that's dimly lit with like a super like German looking scientist dude trying to auction off these dinosaurs to the guys who are like basically central casting. Like, I need Russian gangster stereotype, I need African warlord stereotype, and so all of these powerful people were assembled in one fucking basement to buy dinosaurs, and it was gloriously fucking ridiculous. And I had some popcorn and I thought it was interesting, and I just shook my head and walked out. But I wouldn't say spend $1 million on it.
Well, what's funny is I heard that somebody went and calculated all the money that the people used to buy the dinosaurs, and it actually totals less than the budget for the movie. So the total was like something like $120 million. The budget to make Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom was $170 million. So apparently,
dude,
you can buy dinosaurs for less than a movie now. So
it was so tropey, but again, like it was just interesting seeing dinosaurs fight, and people escaping from huge, the island exploding and stuff like that. I think it got a little less interesting, of course, once it turned into the villain thing and they got off the island. Spoilers, but after that, it kind of definitely slowed down in the second act when you're like, oh, okay, this is as tropey, villain, campy as you could possibly get. But again, my setup is probably why I enjoyed watching it. So I don't think we have a whole lot of other movie stuff we got to talk about, so we're going to come back in just a second with, I think we're going to do some TV. We might talk about some video games, and then, like I said, going to keep teasing it, we got to talk to Danno about his birthday. So we'll be right back on the Basement Roadshow podcast. All right, everybody, we are back on the Basement Roadshow podcast, and I'm bringing Grant Patterson in, and we're going to talk about some television. Television season slowing down a little bit as it's the summertime. The kids are out of school, everybody's in the pool, but there's a couple things that are happening, and a show that's near and dear to both Grant and I's heart, our collective heart, is the HBO series Westworld. Grant, they had a season finale on Westworld, and ladies and gentlemen, Grant promised to keep this short, so you don't need to go to the bathroom or anything before he starts his comments. He promised that brevity is the soul of wit. Grant, what happened in the Westworld season finale? What are your thoughts?
I'm still trying to figure that shit out. Like I can't. Everything is kind of up on its ear. Like I can't. It left it.
Do you think Westworld season 2 tried fucking with you just a little bit too much from a timeline standpoint?
Not necessarily too much. I think I don't like the way that they tried to pull the same trick twice. Let's put it like that. I really think like it was used to such good effect the first time around that watching them try to repeat that trick a second time's kind of shitty. I like where they took the story.
So you just described every season of The Walking Dead.
Oh, there's a reason why I stopped watching The Walking Dead midway through season 3.
Yeah.
Right. I will say this. What is it? The Akacheta, the Ghost Nation dude.
Gesundheit.
From episode 8. I think it was 8.
Yes.
Holy shit, that fucking Zane McLarnon is his name. I looked him up. I'm a huge fan of his now. That man deserves an Emmy for his performance this season. Like, that character was fucking sterling. I felt for that dude.
Did you like where he ended up?
I do. I like that there's a bit of a societal reset inside the park, but the fact that there are now hosts outside the park that are now blending in, that it's going to set up a very interesting power struggle. I also think it's very interesting how he got sent away to this other satellite that's like basically going to hold what essentially android heaven, like locked away from everyone else. I think it's very interesting how they've left it, but
it's like a programmed utopia, almost like what they talk about in the Matrix, where they basically say that the human brain couldn't sustain that form of utopia, but that looks like almost what they threw the hosts in. Well, didn't really throw them in, but just a lot going on, man.
There's a lot going on.
Of threads and a lot of timelines, and and then they pulled an after credit sequence, which it's not really an earmark of. They did it once in season 1, so I guess we should have possibly expected it in season 2. But yeah, if you did, I didn't see it. I'll be honest, I did not see the after credit sequence the first time. I had to rewatch it the next day and see that. So I think some people missed out on that, which was a huge plot piece to be thrown at the end of the credits.
Yeah, that was huge. That the fact that that's so pivotal, and yet I've kind of been waiting for it.
I mean, we could talk about it. You've already spoiled some of
I've spoiled some of it, but I'm not going to touch off on that because I know there are people in this particular group right now that are still watching it. And I'm not going to turn that. I'm just going to say that if you've watched the original Westworld movie, it brings a certain character closer in line to where their original movie inspiration was. And I'm like, that...
I haven't seen the movie.
And I can't even get into it. I don't.
I'll just take my headphones off for a minute, and then you can go ahead.
It's a pretty old movie. I'm sure a lot of people haven't really
Earmuffs.
seen it.
All right, Antonio, give yourself 10 seconds, starting now. So, Man in Black is essentially the gunslinger. Like it lines right up with Yul Brynner's character because it's a host. Like, holy shit, it's freaking mind blowing. So. Finally, anyway, enough of that. It's. I'm very interested where they're going to go in the next season. I just wonder how they're going to capitalize on exactly where they've left the pieces, because the pieces where they've
scattered.
Yeah, they've scattered them across into completely different games. You know what I mean? Like, and that's where I'm just like, holy shit, how are you going to keep this shit straight now? Like,
I mean, and you really find out there near the end that You know, the big trick, like you said, the big trick that they pulled isn't just like pulled. You know, it's not just pulled one time. It's pulled pretty much in the end. You start seeing that it's pulled multiple times on you. And you know, I agree with you on that. That, you know, fool me twice, shame on me. So, but I'll be excited for Westworld season 3. Hopefully, we don't have to wait until 2020. I think it was almost an 18-month wait for between season 1 and season 2. So I know they got some pretty ridiculous production schedules for these things now, so it's hard to get them done in a short period of time. But I'm definitely gonna lots to get into, and I can't even imagine where they'll start the first episode. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
where do you even begin? I mean, like,
Yeah.
the stage is set so completely alien from what the rest of the series had led up to beforehand that the entire game has changed.
And a show with so many timelines, like, where the fuck do you start?
I think they got to start
know?
paring that
So-
down. I really think they have to start focusing in on the where do we go from here side of things rather than how did we get to this point and how does that inform where we're going right now.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely don't want to necessarily try to be figuring out every single time from like fucking cues and shit, like exactly where they're at. And sometimes that's really what it got into, you know, watching it with my fiance. She's basically like, okay, like, is this present or is this like pre-present or is this like past or like future, you know? And I'm like, I'll be honest, I think this is happening right now, but I have no idea. And this could all be just a simulation and we're all part of it anyway.
I just less time hops the better. I think they need to streamline the story now that it's starting to spread and get wider.
Yeah, because what happened before isn't going to be as important as what's really going on going forward.
Agree.
Because that's really where the game has changed. All right, we're gonna move on to what DC streaming service.
Oh yeah.
Do we trust DC not to fuck something
Never.
up?
No.
You never trust DC. Well, more specifically, you never trust Warner Brothers not to fuck something up.
DC stands for doesn't care, and WB stands for what but.
Or why bother?
No,
Oh, yeah, that's
WB
better.
stands for what budget?
See, here's the thing. What bothers me, I haven't looked into this, but someone's got to give me the answer. Is Batman the Animated Series available in its entirety on this service?
I believe
Yes.
so.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
If
Then
worth that's there, it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, so they're gonna have
Depending on the
you know,
price.
so
True.
we don't know the price point yet. It's beta-ing in August. So what we do know is that it's gonna have some original TV shows. So there's gonna be exclusive original live-action television on this service, and maybe exclusive animated content.
Ooh,
too, like
it's
new
Arrow
animated
with less
content.
oversight.
They've got like a new live-action Titans show, like a Teen Titans show
Yeah.
that's supposed to be on the service. I think also something with Swamp Thing. I can't remember exactly. And then they're gonna have their animated movies, some animated, shows, whatever. And then the interesting thing is that they're throwing comics into there. So DC has always been Marvel has had Marvel Comics Unlimited, which was like you could pay for a year, you pretty much get access to the entire Marvel backlog, and then
And
you realize
it's
that
fantastic.
and it's great. And then you try to read 1960s Spider-Man comics, and you realize that 1960s comics don't actually hold up all that well. That was my experience with Marvel Comics
Well, I
Unlimited.
completely disagree, but that's off topic. So
But DC is going to start having comics on their service, but it's a pretty limited selection of what they've announced so far. About 20 runs that they're going to have on there.
All Aquaman. It's all just the Aquaman series.
A lot
That's
of
it.
them are going to be New 52 era runs, but there are going to be a few other pretty well-known runs on there. Like, what they have on there is quality. It's just it's only 20 runs. Honestly, if you could just get a Hoopla account, you could just rent pretty much all the DC comics you would want anyway for free. So I don't know. We'll have to see price.
that's my question is, I obviously the price is something that we need to know, but I feel like if you're gonna come out and do something like this, why not just put the whole thing in there? I understand you don't want to put all your content in one place and force people to go there to get it necessarily, but if they put a good chunk of their comics in there, old and new, like Marvel Comics Unlimited, because not all Marvel comics are in there.
Right.
But if they'd put a good chunk of them in there, along with the movies and things like that, I would potentially pay around the same price or a little bit more that I pay for my Marvel Comics Unlimited subscription. Because
Which is how much?
I think it's about $60 for a year. If I remember correctly.
Reasonable.
So it's about the same as an Xbox Live account.
But yeah,
so.
it's $5 a month. It's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, you get more comics than you could possibly. You would have to be a full-time comics reader to read all the comics that are in Marvel Comics Unlimited. It's a pretty good service, all things considered. I think.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so we're hoping that DC can model themselves after at least the comic side of Marvel for this streaming service, and Batman the Animated Series is something that's near and dear to most people's hearts who who like things that don't suck. They're so good. It's been echoed on several episodes of this damn podcast already that for the fact that DC can't get their shit together from a cinematic standpoint, their animated movies are just so much fun to watch and just usually pretty great efforts. Certainly there are some stinkers in the batch, but there's some really phenomenal stuff in there. So hopefully they'll get a lot of those most popular titles like Mask of the Phantasm and stuff like that.
Are they going to have things like Vertigo in this service?
Well, yeah, because I guess they're gonna have Swamp Thing, and I think Swamp Thing is actually technically.
I think he's a Vertigo property now,
character.
Right?
Yeah, so there's gonna be some Swamp Thing that's happening. They'll probably also just throw up that ill-fated Constantine live action on there too. And,
well, I mean, let me see if they have. So we're looking at Vertigo Comics. Weren't they the people that publish like V for Vendetta and shit like that?
Yes.
And Preacher, yeah, dude. If they so they have like Sandman, Preacher, all that other shit. If they are able to get Vertigo, since DC owns Vertigo, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
I believe you are correct because Swamp Thing appears in Injustice.
Yeah, so I honestly that would raise the stock tremendously because DC, some of their stuff is good, some of their stuff just kind of bores the shit out of me. But Vertigo as a label was always that place where you could find stuff that wasn't what the manual suggested, and you got really interesting shit that pushed a lot of boundaries, and I really want to see more of that. It's like I saw Watchmen get touted as something that's going to be on there, and I'm like, if you have more shit like that, the better the service is going to be.
Yeah, I think right now how they treat Vertigo and continuity is like they've kind of merged it into continuity, so it's like it's all part of the DC universe now. So I don't know how that'll work, but I would definitely be down for it. I freaking love John Constantine, so at the very least I'd be down for more of that.
Yeah, well, let's see what the price is and how successful it is coming out of beta. We'll definitely have to check that out. Luke Cage season 2. Grant, is this something that you were watching?
I have not watched it yet. I've watched some of it and I wasn't really engaged. Like it.
We were having a discussion about this in Discord today, I think. Where,
I've seen it.
The Netflix Marvel universe, is this stuff that's is kind of, everybody thought it was cool in the beginning and it's starting to wane a little bit?
I ain't got time for that anymore. I don't know. They release so many so quickly, and it's 13 hours, straight hours. I love the idea that like you don't have a commercial break, but maybe you just make it a straight 45 minutes still, because the extra 15 minutes per episode isn't doing much for me. It just feels too long. Pacing isn't good on the Netflix stuff. It works in HBO because they do 10 hours, and like it works.
I also think HBO is freer too, because like where you get Netflix seems to like want to go almost there. You know what I mean? It's like we can't really show this on TV, but yet we're not going to fully embrace the kind of like let loose,
like the rawness.
Yeah, unless you're talking about The Punisher, at which point it's violence. It's like violence gets a pass, but we're still going to cover up boobs. It's weird. Like it's super strange. Like and it
Classic
America?
American paradox.
It's very like American morality. It's very weird.
It's super weird. And the thing is it's like I've seen a lot of Netflix Marvel shows have a lot of the same problems, oddly enough, that DC's movies do. And I said as much in Discord earlier today, where you start having an arc that should be your story, but then they're like, all right, well, we've told our story, but we still got to pad time for this extra bullshit here. Let's go ahead and put another arc in the end of this, but that arc really won't be... It won't justify itself. It's not going to be large enough or detailed enough or be given enough care or expansion or exposition to justify itself. So it's almost like an aborted half season that caps off the last third of this season. And it just makes things hokey. And it's all done to tie into these big crossover events, a la the Defenders, which the thing is, Defenders wasn't necessarily bad, but a lot of stuff that led up to it wasn't good, so you didn't give a shit. Like,
no, I didn't watch it.
Well, because you went from Iron Fist, which made you hate the Marvel TV universe or whatever.
Yeah,
then you're like, okay, now you get to watch the Defenders, and guess who's back? It's Iron Fist.
But Iron Fist wasn't even the worst part of that. Yeah, and Iron Fist wasn't even the worst. He actually was better in the Defenders than he was in his own show.
True.
But then it's like Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones was really good up to a point, and then that last season kind of last couple episodes were like, was it really necessary? Could we have wrapped it up a bit cleaner?
Was insufferable though in Defenders. Like her shtick of being like the emotionally detached like alcoholic is cute like by itself. You know, it's like a good thing to have a show
watch
focused
season
around.
2?
Yeah,
but then
when
you put her next to the other characters and it's like, what? Stop it. Get over it.
Did you watch season 2 of Jessica Jones?
Jessica Jones? No.
Oh my god, it's a fucking train wreck.
Oh, it was
it's horrible.
I couldn't stand it.
I started season 2. I did not finish it, and I have not picked up another Marvel Netflix show since.
Oh, man.
Now, I realize it's just been Jessica Jones and Luke Cage season 2, but it's like Luke Cage came out, and I'm like, yeah, I guess I'll have to get to that sometime. But it's almost like I've lost all interest and motivation in it.
Yeah. Defenders was the show that killed
that's
that
just
for
me and TV in general these days. I have a couple earmark things that I could devote the time to, but with family obligations and work obligations and the fact that I still love fucking gaming, television has to take a back seat for me a lot of times. Also, I'm a sports fan, so
there's too many things to like.
There's too many things to fucking like.
The only TV I've been watching lately has been anime, and that's only because like 22-minute episodes are so much easier to commit to than 45-minute episodes.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to consume stuff like that in chunks, and it just, as you get older, it makes a little bit more sense for your time constraints to be able to, devour a couple of those little nuggets and then move on, but... I don't know where Marvel is going with some of this stuff. I know my interest is waned, but maybe we'll see some better products from them in the future.
I will say though, Finn Jones, Danny Rand, minute spoilers for if you haven't watched season 2. He does show up in episode 10 of Luke Cage season 2, and I think he does a good job of playing the second fiddle to Luke Cage. Like, when the focus isn't on him, he's a passable character, because like even the Defenders, like the scenes that he was in, it was they were focused on him pretty close. He was still he was an integral part of the plot, whereas Luke Cage season 2, in the one episode he's in, he's just there helping out his buddy Luke, and he seems like at that point he's acceptable as a character. Maybe not great, but I didn't hate him as much as I hated Iron Fist.
All right, well, there you have it. Glowing endorsement. I didn't hate him as much as I hated him earlier. Success, Marvel? I'm not really sure that's the metric we're looking for. All right, that's going to wrap it up for our TV segment. We'll get into, we're going to do it. We're going to get down and dirty with Danno and find out if Danno got down and dirty on Danno's birthday. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Basement Roadshow podcast. We've got a very special segment coming up where we're going to dive into some relationship stuff with our good pal Danno Waddell, and we're actually going to go ahead and bring in an expert on this to go through Danno's birthday ordeal. And let's welcome Dr. Phil to the podcast. Dr. Phil, thanks for coming.
Well, Tim, thanks for having me. Now, I'm here because you told me that there is something going on with your friend Danno.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, Phil. Danno, why don't you tell Dr. Phil what went down on your birthday, and give us some, feel free to back it up a little bit and let us know the lead up. But what's been going on?
All right. Well, there was a girl, you see, as there always is, and she wanted...
Well, we're off to a good start.
Well, that's right, yeah. Girls starting is good, and we were supposed to go out the night before my birthday to this fancy restaurant down in Orlando. She made the plans.
What restaurant was it?
It's this little place called Texas de Brazil, where like they chop giant pieces of meat off onto your table or something.
Oh, that's a Brazilian steakhouse.
That's absolutely right, Dr. Phil. Very good. So that was the plan. We were working that day. After work, she says she's not really feeling very hungry. So I'm like, you know what?
Oh.
I understand that. I wasn't very hungry. I had a big lunch, I think I had Popeye's chicken maybe. And
let me understand this. You're going to a Brazilian steakhouse, but you're not hungry?
Well, no, see, she canceled those plans, and we went to Bahama Breeze for like a drink, and I ordered some coconut shrimp, and then I took her home, and I went home, and then I found out that she really canceled those plans because she had an opportunity she discovered, and that opportunity was to go hang out at her ex-boyfriend's house.
Whoa, hold on one second. You mean to tell me that you're supposed to be in Orlando with this girl getting the goddamn meat sweats at the Brazilian steakhouse, and she's canceling plans to spend some quality time with her ex-boyfriend?
That is apparently how the story goes down, and it gets worse, believe it or not.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so the next day is actually my birthday, and I was planning to spend the day with my kids. I picked them up. We went and got lunch at Tijuana Flats. I know it doesn't seem like a very...
Tijuana Flats, that's like the bastardized version of Moe's and Chipotle?
Exactly. You nailed that nail on the head. That was terrible. But anyway, Tijuana Flats. Get myself some steak tacos. I'm enjoying my time with my kids. I take them to go... This sounds like it's not a good birthday thing to do, but I took them to go shoe shopping. I know, it sounds terrible, but, they had a good time. They picked out their shoes quicker than they normally do. And then this girl calls me up, and she says that she wants to take me out tonight to Texas de Brazil. And I said, well, that was what we planned to do yesterday, but you chose to do the other thing, and I'm supposed to be spending time with my kids today. And so she convinces me, as she shouldn't, but she did anyway, to see if I can get my kids back to my ex-wife earlier than originally planned. So that...
Wait, hold on. Let me get this straight. So not only is this wicked Hosebees canceling plans to go ahead and hang out with her ex-boyfriend, but the next night, while you're trying to spend quality time as super dad, she's going ahead and she's trying to weasel her little cantankerous ass in there? You gotta be kidding me, Danno.
I know, and I realized, Dr. Phil, that I'm quite a pushover. But, I gave in because...
I told Phil about that before the podcast.
I'm glad everybody already knows that much, so...
It was in my pre-production notes. Thank you very much, Tim, for those.
So, I go ahead. I cancel, I spent some time with my kids, then I take them back to their moms, And then I go back home. I put on a nice suit.
Hey, kids, if you guys will just hang out with Mommy for a little while, and Daddy's going out to try to catch him some tail.
I didn't tell them that.
Okay, fair.
So I put on a nice suit, button-up shirt, this nice blue tie. I got my suit jacket, my suit pants on. I look sharp, okay? And I call her up and say, all right, I'm on my way to pick you up. And she says, oh no, don't come to my house. You need to come to Lowe's.
Lowe's? The home super center?
The one and only, yes. She wanted me to come to Lowe's because she had decided to go get some things for her house before we left to go to Texas Day, Brazil. Now, from where we were
okay, now let me get this. Dano, I'm going to stop you right here.
Okay.
Let me get this straight. So you're walking around Lowe's in your finest Sunday wear. It's your birthday. You already dropped your kids off. You were supposed to spend time with, and now she's not trying to suck start you in the parking lot like you're actually looking for fucking shower curtain rods.
Yeah, I am pushing a shopping cart around Lowe's, looking like the angriest person in the world. In fact, it was quite odd because,
folks, if you have never seen a pissed off ginger, they are scary.
There was this little old lady walking around, and it really looked like we were just...
Was she available?
I didn't ask, but if I see her again, I'll keep you in mind, Dr. Phil. And
fair enough.
And so I imagine that we looked like your typical couple in Lowe's because, as everyone knows, you go to Lowe's or Home Depot to really test your relationship, and so she's walking around and acting like there's nothing wrong, and I have steam shooting out of my ears and my ass because I'm so frustrated.
Well, yeah, you had the Tijuana Flats the day before. That's understandable. That food has that impact on a lot of people.
Day, so.
Yeah, I get you.
So she finally decides to ask what's wrong, and I...
Are you serious? You mean to tell me that this chick couldn't pick up on the delicate social cues that you were upset?
Apparently, I think she picked up on it, and she just thought maybe it would go away on its own, like a rash.
If you ask my personal opinion, Dano, it seems that this girl was operating at a deficit of fucks. She did not have enough fucks to give for you that night. Therefore, she was operating at a deficit of fucks. Would you agree with me on that?
Dr. Phil, I have to absolutely agree with you there. I did let her know.
Okay, I assume we're getting to the point where you stand up for yourself?
Yeah, well, I let her know I'm not going to get into it in the middle of Lowe's, because there's no reason to get into a fight in the middle of a home improvement store. So finally, she gets all her stuff.
I'm just going to jump in here really quick. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, I've gotten into many fights in a home improvement store. Have you not tried to pick anything out with a significant other?
Well,
I'm sorry. I totally digress. Phil, go ahead and let Dano finish.
Okay, so I'll cut to the chase. The Lowe's time takes way longer than I can even get into. So we leave, and we're in the parking lot, and she says, all right, let me have it. And I'm like,
oh, yeah, she said, let me have it. Finally, the story's starting to pick up a little bit.
And so we get into my car.
Oh, here we go.
And I tell her the reason why I'm so frustrated is because it's my birthday. The plan was to go to Texas Day, Brazil. The original plan was for me to spend time with my kids. So I've now canceled original plans for her, and then she messes up those plans. I've already called and changed the reservation once, and now we might as well just call it off completely. And so I'm, angry at her. I'm letting her know that. And she says she's sorry and she just doesn't know what she wants or whatever. And she's like, maybe you should just go home and I should just go home. And I kind of agreed with that, but I kind of also wanted to still go get some food. But I let her go home. I got in my car and called up Chad or Xeon Knight from the Discord, and I said, Chad, we're playing video games.
Chad, get over here so I don't kill myself tonight.
Well, I wasn't quite that far gone, but I needed something to just end the night with fun, and so I'm playing video games with Chad. Midnight rolls around and she starts calling me nonstop, and I'm ignoring it because I'm frustrated. So eventually I decide, all right, I might as well call her back, make sure she's okay or whatever. And I call her back, and she's clearly under the influence of alcohol. I find out she's also taken more anxiety pills than she should. And she then proceeds to tell me that her and her ex-boyfriend have had sex on my birthday. So...
Jesus Christ, what the fuck is wrong with this woman?
So basically, I guess she figured since I wasn't getting my birthday sex, she might as well give it to somebody.
Wow. All right, Danno, I am an expert at relationships. Now, what I could tell you from listening to your story was that was pretty fucked up.
Amen, brother.
Silver linings.
All right, everybody, that's going to go ahead and wrap up our segment with Danno for today. I honestly don't know what else to say.
What's the moral of the story, Dr. Phil?
The moral of the story is, at least at the end of this, Danno, you realize your self-worth. You realize that you were too good to put up with that type of behavior. You stepped up for yourself. You stepped up for your kids. And goddamn it, Danno, you're a good man.
I love you, Dr. Phil.
Love you too, Danno. Tim, go ahead and take it away.
All right. Well, our first guest spot with Dr. Phil on the episode. That was something to behold for sure. We're going to wrap it up here on the Basement Roadshow podcast. I'd like to thank everyone who participated and stopped by. Christian Vasquez was here today, folks. Christian.
Yeah.
He had a good time. We had, of course, Gordon Kirshner, who was popping in here and there.
Woohoo.
All right, Gordon's going to get us out of here. The lovely Danno.
I love all of you.
He loves all of us. And Antonio making his first appearance on the podcast tonight. Thanks for jumping in, Antonio.
My pleasure, and y'all have a good night.
And, of course, we wouldn't have this thing kicking off if it weren't for my co-host and El Jefe of Basement Roadshow Productions, Grant Patterson. Grant, why don't you give us a couple of plugs and take us out of here?
Mike Jones?
Who?
You, man. Grant Patterson, El Jefe of Basement Roadshow Productions.
Who?
Mike Jones?
I don't know. Plug what? Thanks to Dr. Phil for.
We have a Twitter account. We have a YouTube account.
Oh yeah, I'm tired. So yeah, we got Twitter. Follow us, Basement Roadshow. Drop the W. They won't let us have a W on the end of it for some reason.
Yeah, we added all those extra characters, but can't use them in your night.
Come on by the YouTube channel. We got some stuff coming. We got a lot of stuff cooking, actually. There's a lot of stuff on the way. Also, definitely drop into the Discord. Say hey to us. We're talking shit on a daily basis. And as always, we definitely appreciate you listening. And we hope you've enjoyed another episode of our Basement Roadshow podcast.
And with that, we out.
Yeah, okay, here's the thing, all right? When you tell a girl that you have the original theatrical release of Star Wars on DVD and she's actually excited about that, you just let her into your house. That's how it works. I mean,
Top 17 in Eunice. I just need to say that somewhere, even if it's not on the show.